Here it is. We have a winner.
The dumbest case in the history of the Justice Department.
And wow, is that saying something? Let's quickly hit what this prosecution is, what the recent competition is for stupidest political retribution prosecutions, and finally, why Republican insiders are secretly panicking that this will turn into the latest and, dare I say, greatest Trump disaster yet. So, what is this unbelievably dumb prosecution?
Former FBI Director James Comey, he has been indicted by a federal grand jury in North Carolina. Comey shared a picture showing these numbers, 8647, written in seashells on the beach. President Trump and some members of his administration claimed that post was a threat against the president.
This is inherently ridiculous. Here's the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice, Liz Oyer, explaining why from a legal standpoint.
The charges have no merit. It is not a crime to criticize the president. It's not a crime to advocate for his removal from office. It's not a crime to wish him ill. If the FBI or the Secret Service had believed that this was a true threat to kill the president, surely they would not have waited a year to arrest Comey.
But just from a common sense standpoint, this is insane. 86 is widely understood to mean to throw out, to get rid of, or to refuse service to. It comes from a soda counter slang from the 1930s. It's still used by waitstaff in restaurants today.
86 mahi-mahi.
86? That's a lot of mahi-mahi. Who ordered that?
What? No, that means we're out of it. We're out of mahi-mahi.
Why don't we just say we're out of it?
Because that's what we say in restaurants. We say 86.
Of course, since Donald Trump is well known for his penetrating insight into slang terms, including words that he entirely makes up, he's basically done a Russell Crowe, very stable genius interpretation of the numbers to suggest that this is a mob term for kill him, meaning 8 miles out, 6 feet down. Wait, if you're taking someone 8 miles out from shore, how are you then putting them 6 feet down? Like submarine coffin? At least with his insight into what mysterious numbers mean, Trump might finally be able to give us an explanation to the nation's most pressing question. What was that whole 6'7" meme about anyway?
6'7". I just big
6'7".
But yes, this is just the latest in a long line of totally embarrassing prosecutions from a president who is obsessed with going after his enemies. He, of course, forced his then Attorney General Pam Bondi to indict James Comey a first time, and when prosecutors refused because there was no case, Bondi fired the prosecutors and brought in former beauty queen Lindsay Halligan, who disastrously bungled the case.
Magistrate Fitzpatrick, a former federal prosecutor, found all of this deeply troubling. He sets out a litany of concerns about what happened in front of the Comey grand jury. The government's actions, quote, raised a real potpourri of prosecutorial misconduct.
As well as the case against New York Attorney General Letitia James. They tried to make a case against 6 Democratic members of Congress who put together a video reminding U.S. military service members that it is their legal obligation to refuse illegal orders, which Trump called sedition, and the case was so weak that a grand jury rejected it. Remember the old legal adage that you can indict a ham sandwich? It turns out Trump has now proved you can't, literally, because they tried to prosecute the guy who threw a hoagie at a federal agent, and the jury threw out the case. Oh, and their vindictive firing of James Comey's daughter, Maureen, a former federal prosecutor who happened to handle cases against P. Diddy and, who is this? Oh yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, was so obviously a political retribution campaign. On the same day of the seashell indictment, a federal judge ruled that Ms. Comey can now sue the federal government for damages. And that gets us to the third and most important point, why Republicans are in a panic that all of this political revenge is going to blow up on them. Republican strategist Barrett Morrison summed it up best. No Republican wants to run on I stand with Trump's retribution tour while gas prices are so high. And the numbers back him up. Quinnipiac found that 52% of voters agree that Trump is using the Justice Department to file unjustified criminal charges against his political opponents, with independents agreeing by a nearly 2-to-1 margin. Reuters and the Pew Research Center have found virtually the same thing, and all of that has led to the clear conclusion that spending time relitigating old disputes is exactly the opposite of what most Americans want from the president. And that's not me saying that. That's Republican pollster Whit Ayers, one of the most respected insiders in Republican politics today, which is why ABC News' chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl, reached out to White House and administration insiders and discovered that, quote, even Trump's allies are privately calling this an embarrassment, Or, as one very prominent former Trump DOJ official told me last night, depressing. And really, that's what this is. Just kind of sad. Yes, in theory, vindictive political prosecutions or persecutions or both are serious and a threat to democracy. But in this case, when they're so laughably thin and the obvious ramblings of a brittle and petty leader who's entirely lost the plot, the only actual indictment here is of the president and the party that has continued to support even his most ridiculous whims.